Right, that's all the setup done. We're ready to begin. If you want to see the setup, there's another video that shows it and breaks down like all the little bits and pieces in the scenario. So we're going to start off with the classic walk. So 2 dice. Way, what an advert for success. Double ones on the very first roll of the scenario. So on our failure options, we can either move 1 space, lose a life and 2 time, or lose 2 time. We're going to lose a life and move a space, and that costs us 2 time. Not great, but we have got victim saves that will give us back health. And ultimately, like, you've got to get moving. I'm going to go and use my other walk as well, because if we only get 1 success, I'll head to the shed. If we get 2, then I might look to move 2 spaces and get those people saved right away. I mean, 2 successes at the moment seems pretty unlikely, but let's go. Right then, okay, so we've got double discard for 1. We'll do that. We'll get rid of weak attack and short rest, because I'm not going to be short resting and I'm not going to be weak attacking. Whereas the focus is, you know, I always find them far more useful than weak attack and short rest. So that's just 1 space. So I'm going to move to the shed. There's no reason not to bring the victims with me, really. There's not like a huge advantage in doing so, but it just... is there a reason to? If they teleport to me? If they teleport to me, they're going to attack me anyway. I'm going to bring them with me. It's just nice to have company. So we're in the shed, and that means we can basically set up. So that's 1 more time. Okay, so that leaves us with 3 time to buy cards. Obviously, we'd like to do a search. So we'll grab a search card, because we only need the 1 success, because we know what we want. We want the wooden bat that's on the top. And after the disasters of these rolls, definitely going to grab a close call. There's no zeros to grab, because I've got the 2 remaining in my hand, and then the other 4 are going to go into the shop. Right, it's the killer phase. So all killers are going to attack something on their space. Obviously, there's nothing on their space. That would be a horrible setup. So we reveal a terror card. Once the finale and the dark power are revealed, I will move these, but just until now, it just seemed like a good place to put it. This wasn't a random attack. And this is one of the things that's so amazing about this game, is that obviously we had the loser boyfriend come out on setup. So no, it wasn't a random attack. The loser boyfriend tied him in. If there are no victims on the board, discard this and draw the next terror card. Otherwise, target victim, move, stab, increase horror. So the active killer is the red killer. The nearest victim is in the foyer. They can move 1 space, so they move 1. Murders that victim, which increases bloodlust, which increases horror by 2. And horror gets increased by 1. So we've shot up from 3 horror all the way up to just off that dreaded 1 die territory. Now, what I would really like to do, I need to get my search done, and ideally I want to knock that horror down while we've still got 2 dice to do it. So we'll search first. Are we going to search? Actually, do you know what? We could search next round without too much stress. Let's focus now while we've got the cards, if we need to discard to turn it into a success. So, focusing with 2 dice. Wow! Double ones again. Right, I'm definitely going to swap out the dice, because I am a superstitious so-and-so. So, normally I hate doing this. I'm going to use close call, and I'm actually going to re-roll all dice for 2. Normally, I'll try and use close calls for just discards or rolling 1 dice so that you're not spending time. But, wow, that is bad. Bad. So, spending that, get to re-roll. Perhaps it's lying it on top of the terror deck that's doing it. Nope. Wow. Okay, cool. So that's bad. So all that happens there is we spend 2 time. Now, I'm really concerned that we're going to be left with another horror going up. So I'm going to... if I'm ambitious and spend focus, I don't have the cards to burn to turn it into a success if it's a failure. But you know what? I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to spend my last focus. Maybe it's because I'm using the... you know what? Let's be super superstitious. I'm going to turn it to the Wingard Cottage side and see if that elicits more success. Oh, it does, but I don't have the cards to discard. Deary me, that was silly. So that's 2 more time, which means I'm on 0 time, which means I have no more time to buy any cards. So that means I just pick up the 4 zeros from last turn, and I still have my search in my hand. So I accomplished absolutely nothing that round. That was, that's almost as bad a turn as you can have in Final Girl. So reset my time to 6, and it's the killer's phase. There's nothing for them to kill, and here, they will hunt you. Place the active killer in your space. So they're targeting me, which means they stab me, which is preferable to them stabbing a victim, actually, because they're only doing 1 damage. So I lose 1 more life. Then this tells you that the active killer moves. The active killer token will move whenever this happens, or if I attack a killer, or if the killer dies. So it goes down a peg, so it goes to grey. It's going to target me. So if they went this way, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be the quickest way. So they go in the foyer. It goes down again, and black comes into the foyer. Great. Cool. Well, that wasn't too bad by the standards of tarot cards. Right. Well, I mean, no pressure turn, because, you can't go worse than the last one. And the victims won't panic because no one died in the space. So, irritatingly now, though, that killer is there. So I'm going to need to get my search done and then hopefully walk out of there. Right, so searching. Way, my gosh, stars do exist. Right, so that's 1 success, which on the search lets me take the top card of the item on my space. That's all I want. So we've got the wooden bat, which takes up both hand slots, but importantly gives me that extra damage. Spends a time, and search is gone. Right, now we need to get out of here, even if it's just a space, because otherwise the killer's default action will let them kill a victim, and when they're not actually moving, leaving them in the place with victims is daft. So we've got a walk. Just get us out of here. Okay, so spend 2 cards for a success. We will do that. We will spend the weak attack and the short rest. And that gets us 1 space out of the shed. And that's 1 more time. Right, we're not going to spend the last walk because I've had such terrible luck with dice anyway, and it'd be good to get some cards. So, with 4 time, first of all I get my 2 focuses back, because they're zeros. Right, well, definitely feeling like a sprint would be a good idea. Do you know what, technically I could have pitched walk earlier, and I think I'm going to, because I'm going to get rid of walk, which gives me 1 extra time. Bought sprint, which is 2 time. I'm going to buy... then I really do want to buy... I'm going to buy another sprint for 2 time, and I'm going to buy a close call for 1. And that resets my time to 6. I'm realistic that we might end up on 1 dice because of the horror, but I was thinking about buying a distraction, but if we do go to 1 dice, a focus is basically as good as a distraction. So, none of the killers are in a space, which means none of them stab anyone, which is nice. And the tarot card, we're not going to make it through the night. So, the active killer is going to move and stab. The active killer is the black killer. It won't target the boyfriend anyway. So, these 2 spaces are equidistant. So, I am going... Personally, I love that the game puts in those, like, hey, do the most thematic thing, do the funniest thing, do the whatever thing. Personally, I don't like that, because I find that harder to mentally process. So I'm just going to use a dice. 1, 2, 3 is the top room, 4, 5, 6 is the bottom. 4, 5, 6, good to see those stars. Even if it's on a roll, it doesn't matter. So he moves in there, and he kills a victim, which increases bloodlust. So importantly now, that puts them on 2 movement, which massively increases their range. Then the active killer is going to move up. So it goes to grey. They're going to target, move, and stab. So now they will go to the kitchen because there are more victims in there. So they move into the kitchen. They stab a victim, increasing the bloodlust. And then horror goes up, which does put us into the red zone. So that was... a very bad Very bad horror roll. So we've got 2 rooms now where victims are going to panic. So we're going to roll for panic in the kitchen first. There are 2 victims, so let's roll a 1 and a 5. So looking at the kitchen, a 1 means that, like a genius, they stay in the kitchen, and a 5 means they run outside here, which isn't terrible. And then in the family room, a 1 and a 5 again. A 1 means they stay in the family room, and a 5 they run into the foyer. So this is really bad, because now when all killers attack, they're going to kill those 2 basically for free, which is terrible. So we're down to 1 die. I'm going to try and use a focus to get us out of this disastrous area. Okay, so burn 2 cards for a success. I was prepared for this eventuality mentally. I'll burn a focus and a close call. So that lowers the horror by 1 and spends a time. The problem we get now is if I spend a sprint, I don't have enough cards to discard to get out of trouble. If I get 1 success, that would be 2 distance, which means I could save 2 victims, which means I could lower the horror again and heal a damage, because I am walking wounded. Man, this is really bad. By the way, the nails that I need for the bat were in the shed, so I probably should have picked those up before I left the shed. That was not a good play on my part, because that was kind of the whole point of getting the blooming wooden bat. Oh no, it's going very, very badly. Very badly. Do I risk the sprint now? Because I'm not going to have focus next round, so if horror goes up, I'm not going to have an easy way to get it down. Do you know what? Let's hope that the dice are feeling merciful, and let's use a sprint and pray. So, yes, 1 success. Oh, the difference that makes. So we could run into the kitchen, grab a victim and move out, so that victim doesn't get killed. Because when they kill these 2 victims, Bloodlust is going to go up twice. They're going to hit their dark power. But we know this victim is going to die, which means Bloodlust is going to go up by at least 1, which means another horror is going to happen, which means we'll be back in the red. So we need a little bit of breathing room. So we're going to go 1, 2, get those 2 victims saved. We're going to heal a damage and lower a horror. So lower a horror and heal a damage. Okay. We're obviously not going to use that last sprint because, goodness gracious, we cannot justify it. Oh man, this is so bad. So bad. Oof. Okay, that was 1 time to do the sprint, so we're down to 4 time. So we can grab our cards. So we can grab our zeros, which are our walks, our weak attacks, and our short rests. We've still got a sprint in hand. 4 time. Ugh. What's my plan now? Where am I going next? God, they're going to butcher the house. Maybe I should if I head down here, I could rescue this victim into the driveway, and I could kill that boyfriend as well, which would be really good, because it's going to lower a bucket of horror. And the more turns I have to spend using focus to just dribble it down, it's going to be worse. So we've got a sprint to get in there, we've got a weak attack to take care of him. So that's our turn planned out from that perspective. So with 4 time, there's no point in a guard. I don't really need a distraction if we're going to go down the line of the boyfriend, but maybe, the thing is with 4 time, I want a close call, and there's only 1 in the shop, so that's going to lower us down to 3 time anyway. So buying a 3 is the same as buying a 2. So do you know what? I am going to buy distraction. And let's hope this all works out. All right, killer phase. They kill this one, they kill this one. That's 2 more dead victims. That's a horror, and the dark power is revealed. The dark power is Mascophobia. Once per turn, when a killer... Oh, sorry, I'll bring it up to the camera so you can see. Once per turn, when a killer moves into your space, horror. You may not purchase focus while a killer is in your space. Oh, gosh, that's really bad. And that's not even the terror card this round. So the terror card is go away. Each killer in your space or in a space with a victim takes damage, which is no one. And each killer damaged this way would attack back, and then we get an event. Right, well that is a bit of a let off because that's really not too bad no matter what the blinking event is. Escape attempt. Somebody should make a run for the car. The victim closest to the driveway, which is the chap in the garage, is going to make a run for the exit. Roll 1 die. If the result is a 5 or a 6, the victim moves 1 space closer to the driveway. If the result is a 1 to 4, the victim dies. Repeat until the victim either reaches the driveway, where they are automatically saved, or is killed. So, does this person on the driveway, we've got to get a 5 or a 6, which means we've got a 1 and a 3. Are they going to get away? No, of course they're not. So they're dead, which increases bloodlust again, which increases horror. Oh, God, and we're back in the red. Oh, man. Dearie me, how badly this has gone. Right. So, didn't want to use a distraction with 1 dice because it's really rubbish. But I can't do a turn with just 1 die. It's just not going to work. So, hey, 1 success. So, with 1 success on distraction, that lowers horror by 1 and increases time. Great, so that means we have 7 times. So, no matter how badly this round goes, at least we're going to have some time to spend. Right then, sprint. Because if we can get 3 spaces, we can beat our boyfriend to death with a bat and really pump that horror down. Right. Oh, 2 successes. The worm has turned. Clearly that guy in the driveway was bringing us down. So we go 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. That costs us 1 time. We're going to use a weak attack against the boyfriend because it just says, I may attack and kill him. So let's just use a weak attack. It's not great, but you know what? We can't afford to use anything better. Oh my gosh, when you don't need the successes, that's when they come. So we've beaten the boyfriend to death, which does not increase bloodlust and lowers horror by 1, 2, 3. Right, that gives us some real breathing room. And that doesn't cost any time. So none of these victims are in immediate danger. I actually think I'm going to call it there because we're on 6. Okay, so let's set up. We've got... What have we got? So, our options are, with 6 time, that really widens the pool of potential purchases. We've still got 4 cards in hand, so we can get our 2 focuses, because why would we not get them? So, thinking a sprint seems like a good shout, and you know what? Let's get a retaliate as well, because that's 4 time. It gives us a great counter to their damage, and it means we can actually start beating on these killers, maybe peel out at least one of them, or get it so low that we can have an extra die. All right then, killer's phase. There's no victims in their spaces because we can get rid of loser boyfriend now. There's no victims in their spaces because they're all dead. So it's just straight to a terror card. They're everywhere. Great. Active killer is the grey killer. He's going to target a victim or me. Victim if they're closer. So both of these are equidistant. In fact, oh no, this one is closest. So he moves outside. He stabs the victim. Bloodlust increases. Active killer moves up to red. who's going to target me. They're now up to 3 movement. So she's going to go 1. Oh, this is so annoying. 2, 3. And then stabs. Now, even though I'm the target, if they do stab and there's something in the space, they will stab and kill it. So she kills that victim. Man. And then active killer moves up, which means it cycles back around to the bottom, which is black. Targets a victim. They're on 3 movement. 1, 2, 3. And kills the final victim, which increases horror by 2. Goodness gracious. This is crazy. Like the rate at which they've murdered these victims, which means we're not going to see Ava's power, which is something of a downside. I'm going to move Ava out of the way now because the relevance of what we rescue, and unless some more victims turn up, just doesn't matter. Oh man, we're actually not set up with for a turn of moving into their spaces and attacking. I thought there would be at least a victim left to rescue. We really need to grab those nails so that we can upgrade this bat, because it's going to make such a difference in this fight. But that would mean running through the house of killers. Is it a good idea to try and sprint through and get to the shed? Probably not, but let's give it a go. So, spending sprint. Nice! Oh my gosh, the dice at least seem to have recognised how badly it's gone. So that's 1, 2, 3, and that's 1 time. You know what? When you're hot, you're hot. I'm thinking we walk into that shed and grab those nails now. Because God knows we need them. Oh, such an idiot, man. If I'd just picked those up earlier, what a difference that would make. Right then, we're going to walk. Oh. Done more damage to the killers so far by rolling 1 success. That's all we needed. So that gets us into the shed, which is 1 time. Spend 1 time to pick up the nails. And then spend 2 time to combine the nails with the wooden bat, which gets rid of the wooden bat and gives us the nail bat. So that only leaves us with 1 time, but that's fine because there is a close call, which is perfect to purchase. So we pick up our weak attack, which is sitting there anyway, and another close call because I'll be darned if I'm not picking that up. So that resets us to 6 time. Right, this is a weird situation now because we're kind of just going to hunker down and try and murder these psychopaths. So they attack everything in their space. There's nothing left. So it's just a terror card. There's still so many terror cards left. Why are they doing this to us? Well, there are no us. We're all dead. If there are no victims on the board, discard and draw the next terror card. Man, so rarely does that come up. Where are they coming from? So, targets someone. The active killer is black, and they're going to move twice. They've got a movement of 3, so they're going to get to me. So that's 1, 2, 3. Now, when they move into my space, increase horror. Man, as if the horror's already back up there. And then they stab. So, they're going to attack for 3. That's why we've got retaliate. So, using retaliate... Still on 2 dice. All right then, so that would be 4 discards to ignore all the damage and do a bucket of damage back. I'm definitely going to do this. So I'm going to burn the weak attack. Do you know what? I think I'm just going to burn... I'm just going to burn all my zeros. I need to burn all my zeros but 1. So in a minute, we're going to do 3 damage to this dude. If we kept... 4 damage. If we kept weak attack, we could hit him and actually do enough damage to either down him or cripple him, so we'll get more dice. So we're going to do that. We're going to burn short rest, walk, focus, and focus. I know I'm going to struggle to get the focuses back with Mascophobia, but I think it's the best call. So burn all of them. And that gives us 2 successes, which means we ignore all damage, do 2 damage. We add the 2 damage from the nail bat, so that's 4 damage to that psychopath. Remember, whenever we damage them, they become the active killer, but obviously he was the active killer anyway. And then it does victim active killer moves up, which means it's grey. And then if there are no victims on the board, ignore the rest of this card. So, right, next round. So we go into a turn where we just have a weak attack, then 2 close calls. Let's use that weak attack. And let's try and bash his brains out. 1 success, which means if we take that, we'll take a damage, or we could burn our 2 close calls to make it 2 successes, which means we won't take a damage. Not taking a damage right now does feel really important, so I'm going to burn those 2. So that's 1 damage plus 2 damage from the nail bat is more than enough to take him down. Now, normally, what you would do in Final Girl, obviously, is you stop the phase and you like flip the token and all that jazz. But actually, in the Intruders, I'm going to make sure I get this right. Intruder death and final health tokens. When one of the killers has its final black health token and loses its final health, there is still at least 1 killer on the board. The phase doesn't immediately end as it normally would. Lay the dead killer on its side. Instead, we'll stand him up. It's because we're all laying down. Then change the active killer token and finish the current phase. So the active killer token moves from grey to red. Oh yes, because black would have become the active killer when we stabbed him. And let's just double check that when the active killer is killed, move the active killer token to the topmost killer who's still alive. So it's red. Get to the end of the phase, and then we check the token. So that is going to be the end of the phase because I have no other cards left. So at the end of the phase, we reveal, and he's still going with 1 health. However, that does get us that extra die, which is pretty blinking helpful. All right then. So we burned all those. I think it was worth it though. We've got 6 time to spend as well, which ain't nothing. So we can't pick up our focuses even if they were there because we have Maskophobia. And we're going to get stabbed by that killer because he's in our space. So we'll pick up our walk for free. We're going to have to buy a guard or we're absolutely hosed, which is 2 time. The horror could increase, but there's a chance it doesn't. So I think we're actually going to pick up Furious Strike. Let's go nuts. Right, back to 6 time. Active killer phase. They attack. Spend guard so that I don't get beaten to death by this horrible creature who's come back into existence. So I'm on 3 dice now because he's down to his last health token. Right, that's 1 and a burn and 2 discards. I can't discard the cards because, I've got a walk and a Furious Strike. So it lowers the damage by 2, which means I take 1 damage, which isn't the end of the world. Guard goes. Deary me, I can't see us doing this. Such a bad start. Terror card. They will hunt you. Place the active killer in your space. Now, he didn't move into my space, so I'm not increasing the horror. However, other ones are going to. So the active killer stabs me. I have no protection against this. That's 3 damage. Phase ends immediately. Am I dead? Yes, I am. Oh. Well, gosh, that just shows how badly Final Girl can go, I guess. Difficult to say if one thing I definitely did wrong is not having the nails in that nail bat. That was a lot of time spent when I didn't need to run all the way up there. I suppose that was 2 actions worth, but goodness gracious, they just got in such a murder frenzy so soon. Absolutely butchered me. There were still 2 terror cards left in the deck, and they discarded 1 because they'd already killed all the victims. Man, that was tough. Yeah, really tough. But that's the way it goes. You know, this is one of those bleak horror movies where we didn't make it out. Still, great game, and yeah. See, that's the difference. Is that if I'd killed that one, I'm still dead in that scenario and whatever else. But you can at least get that sense of, oh, you know, I got one of them. But yeah, cool. All right, well, see you for another scenario, and it could go worse because, I mean, at least I did something. But gosh, whew, that was tough.